Everybody, and welcome to the Bay Area Content Marketing Meetup. Excited to have Geoff Rego with us today. Our meetup is in our 6th year, and Geoff has been a longtime member and supporter since year one. So year one was 2015. He is the CEO of Hushly and is going to talk to us today about account-focused landing pages for your ABM campaigns. Really curious and excited to see what Geoff has in store. So Geoff, thanks for joining us, and take it from here. Take it away.
Yeah, thank you, Dennis and team, for having me. Like I said a little earlier, this has been a journey as well, and as a really interesting place to learn and share a lot of ideas. I've learned a lot of stuff, and part of it is also sharing. So I kind of try to do this once a year in terms of what we're doing. What I'm going to talk about today is about ABM account-focused landing pages. For folks who know me, I am a serial entrepreneur. I like to not spend too much of time on PowerPoint, etc. I'll actually show you live implementations of this. I'll share with you what I've learned from our existing customer base in terms of what's working, what are the challenges, and how we've taken some of these things and helping some of our customers. So as I walk through, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to, stop me and ask me questions. So let me share my screen. Like I said, I promise not to show you a PowerPoint slide as part of this presentation, but there's a lot of studies out there in terms of ABM and how is it impacting the businesses. This is a recent ABM benchmark survey report from the Demand Gen report, and you could see here, how is ABM impacting businesses. Most of the folks are suggesting that, there's a lot more efficient use of marketing resources, better sales and marketing alignment, clearer path to ROI. We won't go over all of this, and if anybody wants the study, I would be more than happy to share it with Dennis, and he can share it with the group. But you can see there is a lot of huge impact in terms of why ABM for the business. In terms of measuring it, marketers are kind of fit into two camps. One is more about lead gen. Even in the context of ABM, they're looking for more qualified leads. They're looking for more net account engagement. And they're looking how is ABM contributing to pipeline revenue. But what I'm focused on right now is what are the challenges that marketers are facing, right? So while ABM is great for the business and how ABM is being measured in terms of the success, the challenges are severalfold. One is we marketers are doing 1,000,001 things on our plate to get done. We have limited amount of internal resources. Getting sales and marketing to align is easier said than done. And personalization at scale towards creating these account-focused landing pages is challenging because nobody wants to send people to a landing page where it says, welcome anyone and everyone, and with a generic content and generic offers, right? That doesn't work, but how do you do this at scale? So I won't be able to, there's a lot of challenges in ABM. What I'll focus on for this session is, how do you go build account-focused landing pages at scale? Okay, I'll be showing you some of our customers as well as our partners in terms of the user experience, and then I'll focus on how do you actually create these pages, these templatized, simple yet powerful pages, and then I'll spend a little bit of time on the analytics aspect. What is happening at these accounts and how is it measured? Okay. So here's an example of a customer as well as a partner. Some of you may know a company called Integrate. They're a really, really great marketing technology company. So here you could see Integrate trying to go after a specific target account like T-Mobile, right? You could see that out here, I'll point out elements of the landing pages are, not something new, but creating landing page with an account focus aspect and personalizing it is the challenge. And so here you could see, the URL has the account with a pretty URL, right? It's very personalized to T-Mobile. You could see here, integrate, recognizes, and acknowledges the prospect with the T-Mobile logo. Now, when we talk about sales and marketing alignment, right? How do you get sales guys? So here you could see this is the account rep associated for T-Mobile, right? So this is the account rep's contact information, the phone number, the LinkedIn link, and the calendar link to allow T-Mobile, if they want to engage with the sales guy, you know, they have an opportunity to do that. This is, here you could see again, messaging very relevant to T-Mobile, which is the kind of the banner section. This is what we call promotional sections, and you can create these promotional sections with, you could see this is not very specific for, you know, an account focus page, but this is like a 3-column layout with some imagery associated for T-Mobile. But then if you look at it, you know, you want to start getting into demos and embedding not just content, right? Multimedia content. How do you do that? And then here you see the content. Some of the challenges with this is I want to create content or landing page, but I want to insert content very specific to buying team members, right? And you may offer this content by content role, content responsibility, I mean, areas of interest, etc. So how can you build a lot of this stuff, right? There's different sections of these pages that are very focused on the particular account, right? And so if you look at ABM, customers fall into one of two buckets that we see. They're either very bespoke one-on-one, like one ABM page for one particular account, or they fall into one-to-many, right? One ABM page to a cluster of accounts. Then maybe they're going after retail, etc. You know, how do you go create these landing pages, which are very, very personalized and have account-focused concepts, right? So I won't be able to actually, what I'll do is, as part of the demonstration is, I'll show you this in the context of a demo because I can't get into I can't show you the integrates the actual environment, but what I can do is show you how you can go construct these pages in a demo environment, okay? For that, let's look at an example. This is a demo example of MuleSoft going after a retail segment, okay? So in this particular case, you could see a same concept where you can get some additional messaging, right? Your sales rep or you're running an ABM campaign trying to get the visitor, the prospect to the landing page. Here you could see this is a demo environment. So I have my salesperson which is the contact information, phone number, Twitter, calendar, etc. This recognizes this is Amazon. But in this particular case, when we're doing one-to-many or one-to-a-cluster, I want the experience to be different based on what particular account stage it is. So if I change this to, say, Walmart, right? You would see now it's Walmart, there's a different account rep, etc. However, if you look at the banner, now the personalization is at a cluster level, right? It's at the retail level. So this is retail imagery with a retail call to action. Here is images, a video associated with retail. And here's what's called a content section. And this is pretty interesting. What we're seeing when you're creating these accounts, we're seeing marketers, when they're creating the target account list, fall into one of three buckets. One is they go talk to the salespeople and understand what is the target account list and load it up, and that's for who they target. Some of the more modern marketers are using what are called intent signals. So they're using Bombora, Sixth Sense, etc. And they're using the intent signal to figure out what particular content to offer the particular user. So this particular example, which you could see recommended for you, is based on, even though it's ABM, you may want to recommend content very specific to the buying stage of an ABM account, right? So this example that I've created is, how do you take take that intent signal, operationalize it, and then offer a very personalized experience based on the buying stage. So here is my, let me see if I have it. I should have it somewhere. All right, so this is for folks who understand intent data. There's a lot of intent vendors. There's vendors like 6 Sense, Bombora, Demand-Based, Terminus. There's a whole bunch of intent vendors. Even Tom from Treasure Data, most of you guys know Tom. They also provide intent. So what I'm showing you here is, this is the signal that 6 Sense is telling me that, hey, I'm coming from Hushly, my buying stage is awareness, and accordingly, what we're doing out here is we are recommending content for, so what I've done is, I'll show you that I've created a segment here. And this is very challenging. You know, how do you take this intent data, operationalize it, and then offer content to accounts based on the buying stage? So I've created an account here. I created a segment here, and I said, and it can be mapped to a whole bunch of data, but I created a very simple segment which says, if the 6 Sense segment contains awareness, then recommend content, right? And that's what you're seeing is the 6 Sense segment here is awareness. If I go change this, let's go change this to doesn't contain, and I hit an update. And if I go back here to my MuleSoft, so if I do a refresh, you would see now that the buying stage of the account is different, you see recommendation of content to be different, right? So you could look at what I call dynamic cluster. So initially, yeah, you may want to go after personalization just purely based on industries or, but in this particular case, what we're doing is we're looking at the buying stage of the account, and based on the buying stage of the account, the content being recommended is different. This is very, very challenging. So a lot of companies get intent data, which they kind of use to do outbound ABM campaigns or like display ads. But once they come on the site, how do you take that intent data, operationalize it, and then start to recommend content? That's one of the big challenges. And yeah, because the content is being recommended to different members of the buying team, you want to have orchestrated content or personalized content based on, in this particular case, it by initiative, right? So because it's going after retail, if it's e-commerce related content, how do you insert this content into a page? Okay, so this is examples of how you could go create account focused pages, the end user experience. What I'll focus on the next 5-10 minutes is how do you go, this is all great, and you can go create these account focused pages. Doing it one-off is a challenge, right? Because marketers have to go to marketing ops or marketing IT to create landing pages. But if I want to do it at scale, you need a simple yet powerful templatized way of doing it. So what we have done is, and this is what you're having a sneak peek of this is, we are actually announcing this, I think next week. I'll show you the authoring tool, how you can go do this at scale. Okay, so some of our customers are already using it. So we have, you don't need to know everything about this. I'm just going to focus on the page that I constructed and showed you, and show you how simple it is to go create these pages. So the whole concept is templates, right? So this is kind of a 3-panel layout. It's an authoring tool. For folks who have used landing page authoring tool technology, what I'll show is I'll highlight how do you introduce the account focus aspect of it. So here are different sections of the page. There's a header section, there's a banner section, there's complementary section, there's content section, there's a promotional section, and the footer section. You can add as many sections as you want. Say if I want to add an additional content section, I add it. If I want to delete it, I delete it. Okay, and I can change the order of the sections, right? So say if I want the promotion section to be ahead of the content section, or put it back. So the left-hand panel is pretty simple. You can add as many sections as you want. You can change the order. You can delete sections. The beauty of this is, how do you do this with no developer help, no IT help, right? That's the whole purpose is, can I do this at scale with no help? And that's what the design is. So let me walk you through some of the elements of, I won't walk you through every single thing, but if you look at it, on the header section, you could see if you want the prospect logo, we have these concepts of, the logo. If you want the prospect logo, you enable or disable it. Okay. If you want to change the glyph, you don't like the heart, you like the plus sign, you could do that. You can enable or disable the contact card, right? So how do you take this and insert a lot of these accounts? But you can enable or disable the sticky header. Okay, that's pretty much what you can do. For every element of the section, what you could do is you may want to style it, right? So for example, if you want the color of the glyph to be different, you could go ahead and, I don't know, let's select this color, okay? And there you go. You can change a lot of other things, just like any other landing page technology. You can change the font, the weight. You can kind of put in all of your padding, margins. You don't need to know JavaScript or CSS or style sheets, etc. If you want to even further personalize this, you can have custom style sheets if you want, but for the most part, this will get you all of the capabilities of introducing the account object, as well as the sales rep information and the contact card information of the salesperson for this particular account. You can kind of change the account and start to preview it and see how it looks. This is kind of the preview pane. Okay, so that's the header section. We follow the same theme for different sections. So here is a banner templatized section. The banner obviously has different elements, like the image. You can have a video banner as opposed to just a regular banner, image banner. You can change the title. You can have a title, a subtitle, if you want a call to action, if you don't want it, right? Contact now. View now, something like that. As you type in, you're creating the page, right? So that is the content section. Same concept. You can go change any stylistic elements of the items within the templatized section. The complementary section is essentially a multimedia section. You may want to introduce a video of your sales rep talking to the prospect. You could do that. You can change the orientation of it. Say you don't want it on the right, you want it on the left, right? You could do that. You can either put a media or you can put a video. On content, this is pretty interesting. This is one of the challenges that we've seen with our customers is, I have a lot of this content. How do I insert the content in the page, and how can I start recommending content based on who the account is or the stage of the account? So you could see here, it's very simple. We made it very simple to insert recommended streams or initiators. So if I wanted an additional stream that I wanted to insert, I just click on this and I select one particular stream. Maybe I can select the microservices stream. And I hit the save button. And right away, you can see it's as simple as that, right? If I don't want it, I delete it. Okay. And then the promotional section is similar. You can have 1, 2, 3 column promotions. If you want an additional promotional section, you can just add it. If you want to change the the image or anything to do with this particular column, say I want to change the image of it. I go, say I select this, I insert that. There you go, right there. Right, and if I want to delete it, then I don't want it anymore. I delete it. It's going to ask me to confirm delete. The footer section is where you have all of your social links, like your Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, etc. Right, your copyright information. So what you could also do is you can kind of use tokens to personalize the one that I showed you with T-Mobile. If you want to acknowledge that in the banner, for example, I can take a token, which is the company name, copy that, and insert it out here. Okay, and you can see the company name inserted, right? If I change this to Amazon, you could see that there. So there is other using tokens. You could do this. Now the beauty of this is because it's a template. What you could do is this is what I did. You can create the template. Once the template is working, you can pretty much just clone the template. So if say you like the retail variation and you want to go after pharmaceutical, right? You just have to clone it, make a little bit of changes here and there in terms of the HTML content, and the curated streams of content automatically start recommending. So this is the beauty of creating templatized account-focused landing pages. Now you could do it one-on-one, right? If you're doing it specifically for an account, or you can do it for a cluster of accounts. And then you can say, all right, for this particular cluster of accounts, I want this variation for this particular. But from an end user, from an accounts perspective, you could see that they feel that you custom built it to them. You're talking in their terms. They know their account rep. You're offering very, very specific content to them. Okay, so that is the second portion where it's pretty simple. You can get these account focused landing pages up and about. So if you have, say, 100 accounts, right? But these 100 accounts may fit into, maybe half a dozen clusters. So you essentially, with half a dozen clusters, it feels like you built 100 pages. Okay. Was there a question? I'm saying, is there a particular question? Okay, Rich. Bye, Rich.
I had a question.
Yeah.
Geoff. So you can clone a template. Can your customers build a template from scratch, their own template?
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent.
Yeah. So that's what you typically do. We'll give you, so when you start off, you say, I want a page, and you can either use an existing template or start with a default template that you make whatever changes. That's what we call the default template. And I took the default template and made a variation, and I call it a retail variation. And, if I want to clone the retail variation and create like a sub variation for, say, I'm going after medical devices, I create that variation. Or I can create a variation, say, anybody who falls into the awareness stage, right? I want this particular variation, right? So you can do combinations. Any other questions?
Excellent. You were showing earlier there was the video at the top. Are your customers recording account-specific video greetings?
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
So it depends. Okay. Yeah, but the thing is with the sales rep records their video and they drive them to these pages, and now it feels like you're talking to the customer, right? Yeah. So yes.
Cool. Okay.
So the second, so what I promised to do is spend maybe 5-10 minutes on, maybe 5 minutes on just the analytical portion of, what is happening now that you're able to drive visitors, you're able to create these account pages at scale. You want to know, you want to learn and optimize, right? So for which you would want to know what is actually happening at the account. So let me show you. So there's couple of dashboards, right? So from a dashboard perspective, again, this is all sample data. You could see there are about 5 accounts as part of your ABM campaign. There are about 9 visitors, 2 of them engaged, and how many of them, what were the number of leads? Here are the different clusters. So these 5 accounts, as part of this demo, I have a retail cluster, I have a pharmaceutical cluster, I have a telecommunication cluster, very high level aspect of the cluster. But if you want to drill down into what's happening within a cluster, right? You can drill down, and then from there you could see, okay, for this particular cluster, these are account level metrics and these are, user level metrics, right? And it'll tell you within the cluster, because I'm in retail, it shows you what are the accounts within the retail cluster, what were the assets with the users mostly engaged with, how many did they view, how many did they engage with, what was the trending, what were the pages that they came in. If you want to drill into a particular cluster, say I want to drill into Amazon or Walmart, right? any one of these. Now you're getting into the cluster metrics, right? I'm sorry, the account, the individual account. So you could see what are the number of users, what are the trending, what are the assets that Amazon most engage with, what were the leads, etc. Right? This is very dashboard oriented, kind of gives you a snapshot, but people always look for trending information, right? What's happening. So we have operational reports as well. That we added on. So if you can look at it from different dimensions. So here is a dimension on, here are the various accounts, right? So these are accounts, these were the number of visitors that came to those pages from these accounts. These are the number of sessions. That means some users may have multiple sessions. This is the asset views. How many assets did they view? How many assets did they engage with? For the ones that they engage with, we didn't talk about the whole concept of how do you get them to opt in or submit information. What were the form submits? What were the form rejections? How many of them were valid? How many verified and opted in, which is kind of the email verified, and how many leads? And you kind of can do the slicing and dicing of this data across different dimensions. You may say by account, by asset, and then you can kind of do, how's it trending month over month, and a filter, etc. I know we only have about 30 odd minutes, and I try to cover 3 areas, and I hope I did a decent job in actually doing that. The first one was, what is the end user experience to create these account focused pages such as this, to get the user to feel that this page is custom built for them, whether it is one-to-one or if it's one-to-many. I'll show you another example of a one-to-one. Let me see if I have one. Yeah, that's it. So this is, say if you're going after Johnson & Johnson, right? This is so you could see here the banner image is very bespoke for Johnson & Johnson. So you can get to nth level of customization, right? So you can either do one-to-one based ABM pages, or you can do one to a cluster or many, right? This is the end user. But to create these pages, in the past, the marketers were challenges, how do I go and do this? Because I really don't have a templatized approach. So what we did in Hushly is we went and built a simple yet very, very powerful authoring tool with the template that I showed you, that you can, with no developer help, pretty much create these pages. And then once you launch them, from an analytical perspective, you want to see what is happening and what, how do you learn and optimize, acquisition analytics, behavioral analytics, conversion analytics, once you see those ABC types of things. So once you do this, now marketers for the first time are able to go build these pages. So with that, that's pretty much what I wanted to cover in 30 minutes. I think I kind of did okay in 30 minutes. I think so. Wait to hear if there's questions from the group. I mean, there's a lot to talk about ABM, but I'd rather have a conversation and answer any questions or comments that the group may have. Anybody?
Thanks, Geoff. Yeah, so feel free to unmute yourself if you have a question, or you can use the chat if you have a question. I am pretty wowed by these capabilities.
Oh, thank you.
What was the,
you guys are having a sneak peek at this. We're just going to announce it. We've been betaing it with a whole bunch of our customers. We got a lot of feedback, so dynamic and static clusters, dynamic clusters, whole bunch of things. And so we're actually doing a press release, I think next week. James, who's our CMO, he's going to do all that stuff. But but we get a lot of these ideas, right? We're talking to our customers, coming to meetup groups like these, understanding what are the pains that are there. How do we go and productize a lot of the stuff, right? The good part is, we surround ourselves with a lot of very smart people, and they come back with, hey, maybe you can do this, maybe you can do that. So we put all those ideas together and say, hey, can we do something to help a marketer? Because if you can do it for one, it definitely applies for everybody else. So if you can productize this as opposed to kind of custom build it. So that's what I've been working on for the last, I would say 6 months or so. And I'm happy to, showcase it and give you guys a sneak peek at what we're doing. Hopefully, what we're doing could benefit someone, and we'd be more than happy to, answer any questions. And if you have any feedback, ideas, areas that you would like us to, see improvements on, we're all ears. We'd love to get feedback from the team.
Great. Thanks, Dennis. Thanks, Geoff. It was wonderful, knowing about it. I'm fairly new in this group, actually, just my first day, but it was great content. So thank you so much. And how do I get in touch if I have more questions or something later on? Is there an option I can get in touch with?
Yeah, no, you can reach out to me, Geoff at Ashley, or I'd be more than happy. We obviously have our partnership team and our sales team, etc. But this group has been very close to my heart. I've been with Dennis and team for forever, and I've learned a lot from this group. So you guys are special.
So is it a recurring, you keep on coming every week or something?
No, I don't. I
okay.
attend, but Dennis conducts this.
Got it. Yes, I know.
I'm here to support it.
Got it. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You could come every week if you want, Geoff. You're welcome.
I try.
But I mean, it's so much of awesome. Content. 30 minutes is just too much of speaking. Like so that way I was asking. No worries.
What we try to do is condense. Every speaker comes in with the experts in their area. They come in and say, hey, you may want to consider this and this. I think we all learn from it. And once we get the learning, then we try to take those learnings and then go back and, like any sort of growth marketer, we experiment, right? And if it works, we do more of it. If it doesn't, we chuck it up as an experiment. So, but it's that whole aspect of learning and sharing. And this group is amazing in terms of learning and sharing. So been very fortunate to meet with Dennis and team out here. And we've been doing it for, I don't know, I even forget, 5-6 years right now.
Yep. 2015.
Yeah. He said 1,112 meetup, which is really cool.
We've grown a lot because we've went to online starting in March of last year as a result of the pandemic. So now you can join from anywhere. So our member count has grown quite a lot.
Because of the pandemic, this meetup, same here. I have joined a lot of groups and all that because of this pandemic. So
Where are you based?
I'm based in California, in Fremont.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
So we used to meet once a month in San Mateo/Redwood City.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we're not going to do that until it's safe to do so.
Safety. Yes. I totally get it. Yes.
Yeah. I see Shaheen. Hey, Shaheen, welcome. Shaheen's probably muted himself. Shaheen, you're on mute. I can't hear you. Okay.
So I had another question, Geoff.
Sure.
As you were going to the demo pages, we kept seeing I pop up at the top, which I would assume is the account person assigned to that salesperson assigned to that account. Do you have an opinion on the effectiveness of chatbots for these landing pages?
Yeah, I think if you look at the one that I showed, I think you'll have to use a combination of things. It's not necessarily one or the other. I think what we as marketers have to try different channels. So it's great, you get them. If they want to have a conversation with the salesperson, they can do it in one of two ways. They can either create a calendar link and, that's how they, but the one that I was showing you, I think Integrate has also the chat box, right? Which is, let me show you that. I think out here, you could see the chat box here, right? So this is,
okay. Yep.
So yeah, you would definitely want multiple channels and make it easier for prospects to communicate with you. And even if you can make the conversation here very personalized as opposed to, one size fits all, you'll have better success. And that's what we're saying. You don't want to go bonkers and say, I have 1,000 accounts and it's, there are 10 people in the buying committee. Now, all of a sudden I need to create 10,000 landing pages. You can't, it's physically impossible to do that, right? But if you can personalize it and make it easy to actually roll these out, that's what we've done, is create clusters and then create curated streams and then let the system kind of put them together at runtime. And then it feels like 10,000 different variations. Does that make sense?
Yep. So in the example of integrate, you've got the T-Mobile here. If they had 4 other target accounts, are they just going into Hushly to build the other 4, or is there some way to just like click a button and then the other 4 accounts get generated?
So it's a good question. So what we've done in Hushly is, let me show you, we created these things called clusters. So when you can define clusters as essentially a group of accounts. So what we have done is we created, for this demo, right? Pharmaceutical, banking, retail, etc. So you can do customization one-on-one, or you can do it by cluster. So for example, I created a retail cluster and I've identified 2 accounts. Where was it? Yeah, so actually, where was I? Clusters. Oh, okay, I've added and I've created 2 accounts as part of this cluster, right? And then what I've done here, Dennis, if I was going really fast, so I, so out here in the MuleSoft example, I had what's called a default variation, right? And then what I did is I created a retail variation. So what the system does is when the account comes in, it recognizes, okay, this account belongs to the retail cluster. And for that retail cluster, what is the retail variation? Okay, so then that's why you'd see, okay, this is how it should be. And that's why when somebody comes here with Walmart, which is a retail account, you could see that the account rep is changing. However, the imagery, like, because this is retail, a lot of this may stay the same. There are certain elements that change, like Walmart here, which is the logo, right, will change. And if I change this to say Amazon, that's how I have this configured, you would see you were talking about now this Amazon, and the account rep changes. And also the content that is being recommended changes for Amazon, right? Versus Walmart, because maybe Amazon is in the awareness stage and Walmart is in the consideration stage, right? So you can start to have content, even though they're coming to the same page and even though they belong to the same cluster, you're talking in their terms with their account reps and their content. But it's the same page. It's one to many. Does that answer your question?
Excellent.
Dennis?
Yes, it does.
So but to get these things to be done in the past, it's very difficult. We as marketers have to go to our marketing ops or marketing IT and say, first, to get them to create a standard non-personalized landing page is a challenge. But now you want to introduce these whole concepts of account objects into a landing page, which is really, really difficult. And then you want to actually say, all right, once I do that, I want to get analytics on it, right? What's working, what's not working. That's even more challenging. So what we've done is saying, okay, since this is a challenge, like for marketers, that you could see, that's how we have limited resources. We want to personalize at scale. How do you do that? Right? So this is where we came out and said, if we create templatized pages that allow our customers to go very simply clone, make a little bit of changes here and there, and all of a sudden now they create tens of thousands of these variations. It feels like they're creating tens of thousands of pages, but they're all account focused.
Excellent. Anyone else? I've been asking all the questions.
Yeah, don't feel shy. I mean, we all don't know everything. We collectively get to know things better. So feel free to ask me questions. I may or may not have answers for all of you, but I talk to a lot of our customers, and the whole thing is trying to understand, what is the pain points? What can we do together? So if you have a question, no question is silly. I have questions all the time.
Exactly. I was about to say, no question is a silly question.
No question is silly. We're all in this learning
game.
And,
yeah.
So Linda, I hope you liked it.
I just have one, and I know this is probably going to be a big one, but
sure.
How would you do it in a B2C model? I know it's because
I know we're not. I know, to be honest, I never thought about it, and there's like laser focus on B2B, which is a big problem by itself.
Yes.
B2C, some of the concepts of, the consumerization of IT is actually what is driving a lot of this stuff. So B2B in a way is behind B2C, but this whole concept of Netflix type of binging experiences, etc., that's what we're kind of doing. Let me share my screen and share. There's areas that I didn't have enough time to share, right? So if you look at the MuleSoft, right, while they're consuming content, right? So this is content, but not, so this particular ebook, you take them to what are called self-nurturing pages. You want them to start looking at content. This content can be start to recommend based on either business rules or artificial intelligence, AI, which we have, that's starting to recommend. But kind of like Netflix also, once they view that content, they want, the next piece, next episode, etc. So how do you take a lot of the consumerization aspect and offer it in a B2B world? Because we know it works, right? So we looked at a lot of that stuff and saying, can we provide that consumer-based experience in B2B? And that's what we've done.
Yeah, it's a tricky topic. Yeah. I was just thinking more specifically with regards to Facebook advertising, but anyway.
So we're seeing a lot of it is definitely. I need to think about it, to be honest. I've been laser focused on trying to solve B2B.
I'll connect with you.
Sure, absolutely. Would love to brainstorm on ideas that you may have. Yeah.
Thanks.
Anybody else have a comment, question? You guys liked it, I hope. All right.
It's a shy group today.
Thanks for taking your time out of your busy day. I know we got 101 things on your plate. We live in interesting times, but hopeful times. And have an awesome day. Thanks for spending a little bit of time with me. And hopefully what I was able to share would be helpful for you, and spread the word. Okay.
Thanks so much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Attend the next event and become a little bit more educated then.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you.
Take care, guys.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.